All right, welcome to the RNG show. Weekly. I said weekly. I meant bi-weekly or monthly. We're here again. So, the Pokemon market. Booming or busting? Everyone's got an opinion. But today, we dive deep into what's really happening. Whether you're a collector or investor or just love opening packs, there's a conversation you don't want to miss. This is what I think is really going on in the market. So just from my conversations, with the people I know, either in Pokemon or distributors or other game manufacturers, everybody seems to be not having a idea of what's actually going on. But over the past few years, we know the market has gone through booms and busts. The past 2 years has been very down in Pokemon and Magic for the most part. Everything mostly. So the reason why I believe that no one could really get their hands on any product right now is that these big game manufacturers, of course, they need to make profit, they need to make revenue, they need to boost sales. So what do? They have a couple of courses of action that they would take, but this is the one I would take if I was in charge. I would definitely reach out to all these wholesale clubs like BJ's, Costco. They sign these huge deals with these wholesale clubs, which is why, as of recently, these past like 6 to 8 months, probably a year, we've seen such a pivot from Amazon and pretty much just Amazon to these wholesale clubs. The market really wasn't that much of a boom then. It was kind of steady. Things would come out, not do a lot. Booster boxes would be around $90, $95, $100 on the open market. It'd be terrible. The company doesn't want that. They don't. I know a lot of collectors and investors, they love that shit. But the manufacturer does not want that. They don't want their partners, game stores, distributors, and all that in the chain to not make any money. They want everyone to make money because if everyone makes money, they're going to continue ordering the product. So what do they have to do to boost revenue on their part? They have to sell shit. They sign these huge deals with these wholesale clubs like Costco, Sam's Club, and things like that to sell them product. But, with all these huge deals, there's normally an MOQ, and the MOQ has to be met. And then MOQ means, minimum order quantity. And, these big companies like Sam's Club, Costco, and all that other stuff, they have no problem meeting the MOQs because they know they're going to, make 4 or 5% on it and blow it out. So it doesn't matter to them. So that's what I think is happening right now, but it's catching up because they didn't anticipate the market to catch on fire like this and then not be able to satiate the growing popularity in the market because they were going off previous data. So that is where it leads us to today. In my opinion, it's going to be about 6 to maybe 3 to 6 months before, there'll be some sort of renegotiation with all these people and all these higher ups at these companies to extend or cut back or whatever their partnership with Pokemon, whatever, insert game manufacturer name there. You're going to get about 3 to 6 months of this. And then, if the interest stays, it's going to be a little bit dangerous going forward though in the next 3 to 6 months, just because we're going to have a huge influx of product that we're going to be able to get because they're going to up production, and these big deals with these other companies, huge companies, are probably going to get cut back because of either Pokemon are going to say, listen, we can't give you this much anymore just because we have to allocate more here. So next 3 to 6 months are going to be pretty rough, but after that, everyone has to be really careful with ordering. You can't just put your finger on the keyboard, start at 1, go all the way down and be like, I'll take that many boxes. Because, you know, the next 2 to 3 sets, you might get it. And you might, you know, shoot yourself in the foot and burn a bridge, ruin a relationship with one of your distributors or business partners, whatever. So calm down, relax, order a reasonable amount. Don't be a fucking jagaloon. Order what you can handle. Stop it. Like right now, from my point of view, in my store, sure, it's very, you know, anecdotal, but I'm seeing a definite shift from modern to vintage. And everyone knows once you see a price fluctuation in vintage, modern is going to take a dive. Not a dive, but it's going to go down. Because why is vintage going up? Because it's too cheap. It doesn't make sense that I'm selling a first edition freaking Dragonite Hollow near mint for less than a modern card that you could still pull out of a fucking pack that you could buy on the shelf. There's no reason for that. Zero. So what people are doing is they're shifting over to vintage, which is why you're seeing vintage creep up a little bit now. Once you see vintage start to really climb, you know modern are gonna take a dive. Watch vintage because it's gonna start coming up in value. And once you see that start happening, you gotta get rid of your shit. Or hang on to it if you're a collector. What does it matter? It doesn't really matter the value because you're a collector. I'm talking about from a business point of view, business standpoint. I am a business. Why is the next 3 to 6 months relevant? Because they're gonna increase print runs. So there's a little bit of a time delay of when, you know, they don't just flip a switch and it starts printing stuff. You know, way it works here in the States, Japan is very different. They have their own printers there. Start them and stop them anytime they want. Here, you have to bid for printer space. Some of it's outsourced to Belgium, Japan, but a majority of it is handled in the United States. So all the game manufacturers are all bidding for the same printer space. I know you're saying, you know, Pokémon has deep pockets, but you got to look at it as a business point of view. For the printer, they can't make one of their other business partners upset because Pokémon is paying more, because they don't want to lose the business of their other partners. You understand? So next 3 to 6 months, a whole influx of products going to come into the market. Now, at the same time, in my opinion, I think these deals with these wholesale clubs and things like that are going to come up for renew, and they're probably not going to be able to fulfill the amount that they are contractually obligated for at the time they did it last year. So increased supply and these wholesale clubs not renewing contracts with them or keeping it for less of an MOQ than originally anticipated. It's going to lead to a lot of product entering the mainstream distribution chains. So you're going to have a lot of stuff readily available in the next 3 to 6 months. And you have to hope that the interest stays there, because if the interest dies in the next 3 to 6 months and then you have an increased supply, it's going to lead to a big problem, which we've seen during the end of COVID, which is why all of Sword and Shield and half of Scarlet and Violet did terrible. Sure, you can just take a case study and be like, what about Evolving Skies? Yeah, that's one singular set in those 2 years that did phenomenally well, and that was pretty much it for a while. You could say other things did really well, but like at the time when it first came out, it didn't. Hindsight is 2020. So you can argue with me all you want about how things are doing, the boxes are doing crazy, but at the time I had Fusion Strike on my shelf for over a year. No one would buy it. I'm telling you this, like no one would buy it. Sword and Shield, even Brilliant Stars. Sure, when that was first coming out, it was spiking, but when it came out, it kind of crashed a little bit. Even that, I had on my shelf for over a year. People didn't want to pay $110, $115 a box. They didn't. All right, so what can you do as, let's say, a store owner when you can't get stuff to sell? You got to try and get what you can get. And what I've been doing is relying heavily on, Japanese product that's readily available, even if it is overpriced, even if, you're only making $10 or $15 a box. It's something to put on the shelf. It's something to stock your store. Another thing we've been doing is a lot of graded cards. We do mystery packs, repacks, all that stuff. And they do extremely well. We sell probably 100 to 150 units of these mystery products in the store. They're great. People love them. Yeah, you're not gonna pull a $200 card in there. I charge $20 for it, and maybe you'll get a $30, $40 card out of it. It's designed for a beginner, someone just getting into it, to enjoy their first graded card. That's what it's designed for. We don't put a huge high ceiling on it because we don't want people to feel bad when they open it. We want the value to be evenly spread and as fair as possible. You're not going to get garbage, but you're not going to get a base set Charizard in there. It is what it is. Something that we're doing right now is, we're buying a lot of vintage with the anticipation that it's going to go up. Something that we used to do is we used to turn away all vintage stuff that would come into the store that was played. We didn't have the time to go through it because you got to rely on the collectors at that point to buy that, because no one's playing with these cards. And 9 times out of 10, people don't want damaged or heavily played vintage stuff. But we've just been buying everything at this point. And it all sells. So that's something that I would do if, I couldn't get my hands on modern stuff, which you can't. It's crazy. But modern product will continue to normalize in price over time. But for now, due to the fact that the increased popularity and how thinly it's spread, it's gonna be crazy for a while. 3 to 6 months. But after that, everything will be back to normal. And once it goes back to normal, you will lose a lot of these people that just jumped in trying to start a business, start a store, whatever, do a stream, because they no longer see the dollar signs. At that point, it actually becomes work, and these types of people don't want to work. It just is what it is. They'll go on to something else. The next fad, the next thing that no one can get, they'll start buying tumblers from Starbucks and reselling those, whatever. You know the type of person I'm talking about. But the market will reward smart collectors and smart, savvy business people. Because people are looking over here at the sure thing and not looking over here. There's so many easy grading plays and easy just, yeah, of course that card's gonna go up. Of course that card shouldn't be $1. Like, of course. But people are so, I don't want to say stupid, but people are so stupid that they're just focused on sealed stuff. They're focused on, well, let me get the Pokemon Center things. They always go up. Of course they do. Everyone wants them. You have to go for the things that people aren't looking at. All right, so what do I think is going to happen with the next set and the next products coming out? I mean, Prismatic Evolutions just came out. The Elite Trainer box is still over $100. The surprise box is coming out, and that's over $100 pre-sale. And I don't really see it stopping anytime soon, considering as a store, we order from 3 different distributors, and we only got 6 cases of the surprise box. I know you're saying 6 cases, holy shit. It's not a lot. When I tell people I got 260 ETBs for Prismatic, they're like, holy shit. I'm like, it's not a lot. Put it to you this way. I sold 240 within 15 minutes. that were put on my website. Not only that, in store alone, I ordered Terrestrial Festival. I couldn't get Prismatic, so I ordered Terrestrial Festival. I ordered over 200 booster boxes of that. It sold out within 2 weeks. 200 boxes. It's not a lot. You might think it's a lot. It's not a lot, especially when you're paying, like for Terrestrial, I started paying $70 a box and selling it at 80, 85, making only $10. It's not a lot of money, profit margins on these things. Then I was paying upwards of 80, 85 a box towards the end to stock it and maybe sell it for 95 in my store. So I know saying I'm selling 200 boxes of a product sounds like a lot, but the margins are very thin. And if, let's say, one box out of that goes missing or is whatever, stolen, I have to sell 10 boxes to make up for that one box. So it sounds like I'm making a lot of money, but it's not. And this is the trading card industry and the trading card world. Very small margins, very high volume. People throw out all these huge numbers, you know, like, yeah, I did multiple 7 figures last year, blah, blah, blah. It really means nothing in the grand scheme of things. What really matters is how much you're netting. You know, sales boost the ego, profit feeds the family. So it doesn't really matter how much you're selling. It matters how much you're taking home. And that really is no one's business but my own. But the sales numbers are crazy. And what we're bringing home, not that crazy. What we are doing is reinvesting, building inventory, building the business. And we'll continue to do that. So, in closing, you're on 3 to 6 month notice with Pokemon because in the next 3 to 6 months, it will take a downturn. 100%. There's no way that it can continue this way. So you have to pivot yourself accordingly. If you're a store that just started up and you're just doing Pokemon, you're going to have a really hard time for the next 3 to 6 months. But after that, you will be able to build your inventory because things will go down. But will you, as the business, have the motivation to do so? Because when you see a lot of dollars, you get highly motivated. And when those dollars go away, that's when the real work begins. And you could build yourself a platform, a inventory base on much more reliable flow of inventory. And that's where the real money is made during a downturn, when you're able to buy things for pennies on a dollar. But people don't see that. They see the big flashy numbers. They see the big dollar signs and all these things coming out that are going double, triple, quadruple MSRP, and they want a little taste. But you, as the business that you just started, whether it's Pokemon, whatever, you have to realize that it takes a shit ton of work, endless nights. You're gonna miss some things, you're gonna miss some birthdays, some parties, but you're gonna build a business that could withstand this. Because if I didn't have the inventory I had, I'd be in trouble. We have an endless supply of packs just because we were buying the shit that no one wanted. The V-boxes, breaking them down, selling the promos, doing what I do sets you up for this point in time when you can't get anything. If people want to come in my store and each person that walks in my store wants to buy 50 packs of any set, I got you. But that's only because we put in the work that no one wanted to do for the last 2 or 3 years. So that's what you got to do. Put in the work that no one wants to do. So when people jump into this, that see the dollar signs, and then realize, oh shit, I can't get anything, you're there to capitalize because of all the work you put in for the last 2 to 3 years. So enjoy your day. This is another beautiful little thing. Again, unscripted. I talk what comes out of my head. It just falls out of my mouth and into this microphone.